Minutes. Journey for Justice, would you? Very good. Do, just do the mic right here. That's all.
How's everybody doing? My name is Rod Wilson. I'm with the Journey for Justice Alliance. I'm the executive director of Eugenia Burns Hope Center out of Chicago. I'm here with Reverend Robert Jones, who's one of our board members and a member of another organization, Kenwood Oakland Community Organization, Jeanette Taylor, who is also a parent and an education organizer in Chicago, and Ms. Irene Robertson, who's also a parent. We drove here from Chicago 8 hours for this hearing. We were told we were going to do a presentation, so each one of us had about maybe 5 to 6 minutes total to actually give the information. And I know we have us down for 2 minutes. I do respectfully ask if we could get a little more time, only because we took 2 days to, I will appreciate that. So in Chicago, we've been dealing with school closures, proliferation of charter schools for nearly 20 years. What I can, again, it may operate differently, but what we can do is give you a little bit of what we've saw. And I think that's why we were asked to come down. What I've been hearing, questions about oversight, accountability, transparency, we dealt with that in 2004. Sorry about that. Arnie Duncan came out of Chicago. So we were dealing with it. We were at the ground zero for this. So I think when you have a proliferation, any type of privatization, you're going to have some of those issues. We dealt with that. We pushed back, and charter schools got a little better. What we did after that, we had to deal with cherry picking. Well, I heard that earlier. And creaming, that happened. We had to push back, got a little bit better. And then we started dealing with push-outs, and that's what we're dealing with now. In Chicago, charter schools push out students 5 times more than neighborhood schools. We have one charter school that has have 100% graduation rate. The president of the United States takes them around and promotes them. It's called Urban Prep Academy. But only 40% of their incoming freshmen graduate. So between freshman year and senior year, 60% are pushed out due to suspensions, expulsions, and like the guy said earlier, they didn't have the counseling out rates, counseling out students as well. So these are some of the things that we saw. You may not see those, but this is what we saw and what we have been seeing in Chicago. And we are an alliance of 24 different cities, and we have been seeing in other cities across the country. What we began to look at is a different option, a different model, because we don't believe in low-performing neighborhood schools either. We all want the same thing. We all believe every child should have a world-class education. We should be able to walk out our house and go to a world-class school within walking distance. We all want the same thing, so we can't get into charter parents, neighborhood parents, because it's always going to be a fight about resources. Our schools have never been adequately funded. Never. I'm going to say that again. They have never been adequately funded. That's how you have low-performing neighborhood schools in our cities. So when you do bring in extra schools, you're splitting resources. That's just basic math. But what we looked at was a model in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, 13 years ago, had a 52% graduation rate. They're at 85% now. They had a opportunity gap between white students and black students with 14%. Now they're at 3%. What they did was they began to engage parents, community, and they began to look at, because we know what our children need. We know we have the solutions to our problems. There is no deficit of solutions in our community. There may be a deficit of resources sometimes, but we know what we need. And what they began to do is look at how do we take the parents and the community, let's find out what they want to see. Help them imagine, envision what they want, and then help them create it. Then let's look at how do we educate the whole child, and let's not turn our backs on any child. Let's not give up on any children. And what they did was a community-driven approach that has worked for Cincinnati over the past 13 years. With Reverend Jones, Jeanette Taylor, and Ms. Irene, and also Joan Fediro, we had to fight in Chicago for our last open enrollment neighborhood high school. And they went on a 34-day hunger strike. to make sure our neighborhood high school stayed open. And we went through a similar process of a community-driven approach, and they're going to talk a little bit about that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rod. I just want to say good evening to everyone, and I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Just want to share that, first of all, it becomes important for us to understand that we are for choice and opportunity from the community. But what we have noticed that happened in Chicago and in many states across this country is that those that are in power, those that are in leadership, they will say, you have a choice. Choose, but choose what we tell you to choose. And unfortunately, that has been the situation and the issue as it relates to the community. The community has a voice. I applaud those parents who came here earlier who made mention of the fact that they had choices. As the schools, as public enrollment, as open enrollment school after open enrollment school would begin to close within the communities, and we would organize the communities, and communities would go to the school board, communities would go to the mayor who's in charge of the school board in Chicago, and we'd talk about the ideals. They came up with a plan, and they said, okay, well, if you can put together a plan. We brought in professionals, educators from college and universities to put together a plan, and we said, okay, what day you want to hear it? And they said, okay, we want to hear it on this day. They changed the date. And then we say, okay, and then they changed the date again. And then they changed the date again, and then finally they came up front, went public, and said, we're closing the school. So with that being said, we took an initiative to say that we were going to sacrifice ourselves for this school. And we went on a 34-day hunger strike. We did not eat, and we went to every public venue that any of the school board members or any of the politicians that were at to let them know how we felt. And after 34 days, it became an historic moment that the only school that had ever been closed in the privatization era was reopened as an open enrollment school, as a neighborhood school. And what became important about that, as they opened up the school, they had said that money wasn't available. That was not true. They said the children didn't want to go to, there were no children in the neighborhood. That was not true. They said the parents weren't interested. That was not true. We found that all of those things were true, and they gave $16 million of infusion into the school. The school is open now, and the parents are involved, and it's a great thing going on. And it became a win from what could have been a loss. And so when the parents are listened to, good things can happen as it relates to public education.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Taylor, and I'm the education organizer for the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization. I've been on the local school council for 22 years. I'm a mother of 5, and I'm a nana of 1. And my whole life, I've been fighting for public education. This is not about public school parents against charter school parents. It's about real parent choice and the district filling and fulfilling all schools. Mollison Elementary in Bronzeville is the poster child for district disinvestment and pushing parents out of neighborhoods. Mollison has had 3 school actions in the last 10 years, 5 different network chiefs, a host of teacher turnaround, and instability, and no support from the district. Chicago had the largest school closings in American history. 50 schools in 2012, which is why the crime rate is outrageous in Chicago. Mollison was merged with Overton Elementary, where a school only built to hold 400 had 500 students with no vision from the district or support. We had the first day of school, 52 kindergartners in the classroom. We had kids who ate lunch in the gym room or in their classrooms because the school is overcrowded. And we do not have a least restricted environment classroom, which is a state law. And while real educators know that parents understand the importance of us being involved, we had no parent room, all while fully funding and building 2 new charter schools in our neighborhood. We don't have a budget crisis, we have a priority crisis, where black children are not the priority. Which charter schools only exist in black and brown neighborhoods in Chicago. They don't educate special needs students. I pay taxes. My child should be able to attend a school fully funded in my own neighborhood as children in Rogers Park and the Gold Coast, which are in white neighborhoods. Myself and 11 other brave folks went on a 34-day hunger strike to save our last open enrollment neighborhood school in 2015, something that is supposed to be a human right, while they were putting out an RFP for more charter schools, but telling us that they could not fund our public schools. Please tell me what me and my children have done other than be born black. which in our community and this country is not a badge of honor.
Hi, my name is Irene Robinson, and we are here to say that we have been impacted by school closing and the birth of charter schools and school privatization. Since CP has been experiencing on school, we have been arrested because our choices have been taken from us. As parents, we don't have any choices. The public officials and the board have took it from us. And by doing that, who be hurt the worst? Our children. Every child deserves a world-class education. As you close 50 schools, you open up 50 charter schools, meaning where the money coming from? It's coming from our neighborhood school, which have pushed children out, which have destroyed our community, destroyed the history of our schools. Our schools are the heart of our community and the root of our history. People who fought for our children to have a high-quality education, they fought and they died for it. As we all know, this system never wanted to educate our children. We had to fight and do it ourselves. But we are taxpayers, and we have the right to determine what type of education our children supposed to have. And we want our neighborhood schools. 45